Candidiasis. Candidiasis is infection caused by Candida species. Candida albicans is the major one. There are other non-albicans species also there. It terms Calpica, Candida, non-albicans like Gubota, Dubionsis, Arabsilosis, tropicalis. Like there are several organisms are there. So basically, major organism is Candida albicans, but nowadays due to this immunocompromised population rise, there are non-albicans Candida also in the rise. So it's Candida. Organisms are opportunistic fungal pathogens. About Candida albicans, almost other non-albicans also growth conditions are similar to albicans. So albicans grow in several different morphological forms, ranging from unicellular budding knees to two hyphal with parallel side walls. So germ tube is also positive. Candida albicans is a unicellular oval-shaped diploid fungus. It's a form of yeast. It's a harmless common cells in the gastrointestinal and genitourinary tract in human are found in 70% of the population. Overgrowth of these organisms, however, will lead to disease. It's an imbalance. So you can see parallel wall, these are chlamydospori, but in pseudohyphae formation. You can see so like hyphae but pseudo, but true hyphae formation also they are in the albicans. So they are infect almost any site of the body, from skin, genitals, throat, mouth, blood, anywhere it can infect, but depending on the patient's immune status. Over 70% of women suffer from candida infections, usually vulvovaginal candidiasis, in their lifetime, and 40 to 50% of them will have additional recurrences like occurrences. Interestingly, albicans are fourth leading cause for nosocomial infection in patients' bloodstream. So it leads to bloodstream infection. Candidemia. It's a terrible condition. This could result in an extremely life-threatening systemic infection in hospitalized patient with mortality rate of 30%. It's a high mortality. There are several Candida organisms, part of our common cells, and colonize the skin and mucus of the humans. They are what I said, most are immunocompromised population, they are at a risk, but including some babies with nappy rash, because skin integrity is interrupted. So nappy, so in the female or male genital areas, organism resides from mother's mucosal flora, then they can push into human circulation or baby circulation, leading to local as well as systemic infection. People with metabolic disorders, including diabetes, are more prone. Overweight people, obese, pregnant women who take high dose contraceptive pills, other one. People who work in wet conditions like frequent dishwashing, like in kitchen practice or in hotels, those who work. People who are HIV positive or suffer from the time of immunodeficiency. There are infection in body, there are several types of candidiasis. If it is in the mouth or throat, it's called oral candidiasis or pharyngeal candidiasis or thrush. It affects genital area, vulvovaginal. If it is skin, bottom area, it causes diaphoreas. Bloodstream, it's called invasive candidiasis or candidemia, what I said earlier. Pathogenesis is caused by abnormal growth in Candida albicans, which is usually due to imbalance in the environment. Mainly, so consider host factors as well as pathogen factors. So host, often it is kind of local or systemic immunocompromised stage. Usually this imbalance occurs in women's vagina. Infection less like to occur in men. So that is other one. So in the female's vagina, when the lactobacillus concentration differs, it goes for this kind of candidiasis. Other thing is antibiotic can use decrease the amount of lactobacillus, which decrease the amount of acidic production and pH of vagina. Other events are pregnancy, uncontrolled diabetes. So the predisposing factors. when the alteration of normal microbial flora starts in candidiasis or its infection. Transmission usually transmitted from mother to infant to childbirth, but person to person transmission is not. It's a part of normal flora. Usually, it's rarely transmit with sexual intercourse. The typical reservoir albicans is the normal human flora, so it's not transmissible. Like when we consider about virulence factors, causes several virulence factors. Adhesion proteins promote the binding of the organism to host cells via hydrophobic interactions. This reduces the level of yeast clearance from the body under normal immune regulations. Apart from that, when Candida albicans penetrates host mucous surface adherence and its a morphogenesis into invasive filamentous form. The polymorphic growth pattern helps the yeast invade host tissue by secreting, then they secrete various degradative enzymes, various proteinases, aspartyl proteinases, and phospholipases. So this phenotype switching from yeast to following sort of invasive filamentous like pseudohypophobe. It's another virulence factor. And also it leads to antigen expression different type. Even though patient is immune earlier, now there are some differences. And tissue affinity also varies. Switching might provide cells with flexibility that results in adaptation of organism to hostile or host or foreign conditions. So it's a terrible situation. No, it's adaptation. So when we consider symptoms, if it is in skin lesions, cutaneous lesions, we can see patch of red itchy lesion, often leaky fluid. Scabs and pustules may be seen around these edges of the rash. Usually it can found in the groin, the folds of buttocks, where moist accumulate in areas. Hot and sweaty conditions, they are more prone to develop. So vaginal yeast infection, slow leakage of thick, white, cheese-like substance. It's due to the vagina in suspected patients who come into dysuria or dyspareunia. So you always think and do the proper examination. And if we look visual observation, you can see this cheese-like white thick substance suspecting vulvovaginal candidiasis. Candida paranoica. It's a candidus of fungal nails. Painful red swollen area around the fingernails can be seen. Oral thrush, curd-like white patches inside the mouth, oropharyngeal or oral candidiasis. May be painful, maybe not painful. So diagnosis depending on the pathology, site of the pathology, we can, if visual observation, go up to investigations. Usually we have to take a sample and do staining and look through the microscope and go for the culture. That's all. So for a paranoia, we can take nail clipping and put some KOH and look to the microscope. And the same time can put in a separated dextrose again, keep in the incubator. Here we keep only body temperature on 37 like. That's how we can see these organisms. Treatment. It depends again with the pathology. If it is the skin one, we can apply topical one. Vulvovaginal, we can go for the fluconazole, itraconazole, vaginal pessaries like or balms or cream applications. But if it is a systemic, we have to go for parenteral antifungals. So like fluconazole, voriconazole, or even amphotericin B. It's always advised to do antifungal susceptibility tests, but not like my bacteriology. It's done in rare. But in automated platforms like Vitek2, it gives with the fluconazole, caspofungin, MICs, but it's rarely available still. Prevention is some moist or hygienic measures, and also irrational use of antibiotic must be discouraged. And diabetes or metabolic disorder control or HIV, another cause of current episode trust. So HIV control is there, and prophylactic use of cotrimazole may be helpful to minimize. It depends, it case by case, not always giving. So we will move a bit about the antifungals. So antifungals, there are mainly four groups plus miscellaneous. So disrupt fungal cell membrane, it's mainly by pollines. It's the one which cause. Then inhibit mitosis, that is glycerol. Inhibit DNA synthesis, through cytosine. Inhibit cell wall synthesis mainly by azoles. So amphotericin B, it's there are different four types of formulas, conventional and novel. So always it's advised to read the manufacturer's instruction prior to use this. Mode of action is amphotericin B bind with ergosterol, a component of fungal cell membrane. Forming a transmembrane channel leads to monovalent ion leakage, will primarily leads to fungal cell death. But mind you, this acts to cell membrane, not cell wall. So amphotericin is highly toxic because it's almost, apart from this ergosterol, our human cell membrane also phospholipid steroids are there. So they act also as well. So it leads to a high rate of adverse effects, mainly nephrotoxicity. So main one, nephrotoxicity. So always we have to use low infusion because amphotericin B conventional formulas are more risk to develop anaphylaxis. But fluconazole, azole, which inhibit fungal cytochrome P450 enzyme alpha 14 alpha demethylase. This is a part of cell wall. This inhibits the conversion of lanosterol to ergosterol, an essential component of fungal cytoplasmic membrane and subsequent accumulation of 14 alpha methylsterol. So it's a mainly fungastatic, but it can fungacidic in Cryptococcus. Cotrimazole kill individual candida of fungal cell by altering permeability of fungal cell wall. Ketoconazole, all are azoles, interfere the fungal synthesis of ergosterol, which affects cell membrane as well as certain enzymes, due to the disruption of the membrane. Here you can see cell wall synthesis, caspofungins like ergosterol cell membrane, but wall also there, terminifying there. Amphotericin is the one which we commonly use.